The Charyn Harris Experience, exclusively on Studio 54 Radio, SiriusXM.
Hey, welcome to another exciting episode of the Charyn Harris Experience here on SiriusXM's Studio 54 Radio. And if you recall, all of our episodes are exciting and it is an experience. And today does not disappoint. I have in the studio with me Prince Charles Alexander. And as with all of my guests, most of my guests who are musicians anyway, or in the music field, you have heard his work. And I know Prince Charles not only for his work, but as being an esteemed educator also in the space. So Prince Charles, welcome. I go Prince Charles.
I love it.
We're so used to saying Prince Charles, but Prince? Yeah. Do you like Prince? Do you like Charles?
I'm still confused myself, honestly. So whatever works for you, Prince is fine. Prince is fine
because I think Gary Foote always. I think that's why I call you Prince Charles. Because Gary Foote is always like Prince Charles.
Yeah, he does.
I know who he's talking about. So I think that's why it rolls off of my mouth like that, like Prince Charles, but Prince.
Yeah.
I'm excited to have you here because, of course, I've consulted with you with my students with Berklee College of Music, where you hold a role that we'll dive into later. But also, I'm excited because of the work that you've done in this space that kind of crosses the intersections of dance music making its transition into New Jack Swing, which was a very important time because that means we were pretty much in New York around the same time.
Oh yes.
Because I was doing some things with Uptown with Albie Shore around that time before I relocated to Los Angeles. But with you, working in producing and mixing and engineering for Mary J. Blige, for Puffy, for Usher, Boyz II Men, Jodeci, X-Clan, Brandy, Aretha Franklin, Sting, who was just here at the Hollywood Bowl, the Notorious B.I.G. We were talking about the hit factory comes up a lot in my conversations with different musicians. So that is, the hit factory unique recording is another one. With Roy Shamir and Angela Paiva. So, but I want to hear it from you, like diving into this space, getting to work on all these records and hearing what led up to that. Can you share a little with us?
Wow. Well, first of all, thanks so much for inviting me on, Charyn. This is really wonderful. Anytime I can, kind of give people a look at that New York period that was really an intersection, I love to do it. So I grew up in Boston, and New York was a hop, skip, and a jump. So we were doing a lot of things musically that were kind of making a connection to New York. A lot of people don't realize how closely associated Boston is with early hip hop. Africa Bambaataa was working with Arthur Baker, and Arthur Baker's out of Boston. And
yes,
Tom Silverman is out of Boston. Tommy Boy Records out of Boston.
Yes.
So we as the musicians, the black musicians, kind of on the little Chitlin circuit. We had Roscoe's Lounge and Doc's Lounge and all these Lane's Lounge and all the lounges up here that the blues acts would come into, and then we were performing in. And then we had the Sugar Shack, which all the Ohio Players and the Dells and the Dramatics and LTD were coming into. Boston was rich.